What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the North Shore 9 Postgame Show, powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm Jim. With me tonight is Tyler. Tyler, how we doing this evening?
We're winding down the season, my friend. And you know what, real quick, my birthday was on Friday, and Mom and Dad came through a little bit. We got some stuff for the podcast set up here. We got a little Paul Skeens.
Oh, that's pretty cool. There you go.
And then
Paul Skeens framed photo.
Yeah. And then the old man just decided he was going to make me a little light me up Pirates box.
What is that? What is a light me up Pirates box?
I don't know. It's got lights in it. And it's a little thing that lights up.
All right. What are you going to do?
I don't know. Dad made it, so it'll go behind me whenever I decide to set this entire bad boy up. But you know what? We're getting there.
We're cooking. We're cooking. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
We're only like 5 days late. It's fine.
Hope you had a good weekend. It was the Johnny Appleseed Festival for your birthday.
Yeah. I got an apple dumpling. Got actually the apple dumpling was the big deal. That's all I really cared about. Apple ice cream. Apple margaritas.
You know who didn't have a very belated birthday for you?
Guess the guy.
Rowdy, Tellez, and Michael A. Taylor. But we'll touch on that a little bit. But hey, this is the post game show. Pirates lose 7-2 to the Milwaukee Brewers today. But on top of that, they made some moves heading into today's game. So we'll get into the moves. We'll get into the game. We'll talk about everything. There's a lot to discuss today for a relatively boring 7-2 ball game. So we'll get to it. Before we do, though, Bet Online, it is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to the online casino. Get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online. The game starts here. All right. So I feel like we can't really tell the full story of today without leading off with some news that we got this afternoon, which was the Pirates are calling up Joshua Palacios and Liover Peguero now that the AAA season is over. And in order to make room for those two on the 28-man roster, since it's September, they designate Rowdy, Tellez, and Michael A. Taylor for assignment. So just to look back on the Pirates' careers of Rowdy, Tellez, and Michael A. Taylor. Let's start with Taylor. You were on with me. It was the two of us whenever Taylor was signed. It was an emergency podcast. I had been kind of gunning for Taylor all offseason. I was like, we need somebody who can play defense in this outfield. I don't really care about the bat. We need a defender. Well, I didn't anticipate his bat to be as bad as it was this year. He put together his worst offensive season of his entire career. He hit 193, 253 on base percentage, 290 slugging percentage, a 50 weighted runs created plus. He was very good defensively, but overall, just not like you needed more from Michael A. Taylor. And so he was designated for assignment today with about 6 days to go. You, on the other hand, you were against it from the get-go.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. And it kind of flipped somewhat through the year just watching the outfield defense. But at the end of the day, the bat didn't play well enough to play often enough as he needed to with this organization. And plain simply just wasn't good enough. And when you're picturing getting Michael A. Taylor, you were thinking more of the Michael A. Taylor we saw last year that showed the power, a little bit below average hitting, but you live with that every day. My lens that I look at things through is a little bit differently, where I look at last year and then I look at the entire career and think that, well, the Pirates aren't making this guy better because they don't make guys better that often. Well, Michael A. Taylor had a just really bad year at the plate, and it wasn't good enough to even roster to this point. So kind of just burning $4 million.
Yeah, I mean, just to put it in perspective, the 50 weighted runs created plus that Michael A. Taylor put up this year, if you take all of Major League Baseball, there's 278 players who have had 300 plate appearances or more. Michael A. Taylor ranks 276th offensively among those 278. So there's only two hitters with as much playing time as Taylor, who was as bad as Taylor at the plate. So long, Michael A. Taylor. His Pirates tenure lasts 113 games, 300 plate appearances, and yeah, it wasn't anything to write home about. Next up, Rowdy Tellez. Similar, I guess the difference here was I don't think any of us were on board with this signing. It seemed like it was made very hastily. He was signed super early on in the offseason. He was like the first baseman off the board, when it comes to free agents. It was like the Pirates were like, this is our guy. And he started off the season terribly, just absolutely horrendous. There were calls for him to be DFA'd pretty much all April and May. But then something clicked. June, July, Rowdy ended up turning it on a little bit. But down the stretch here, he's kind of faded back, and he's had a rough stretch. The big thing here in the story of the day, and this isn't even just a local story. Like, I've seen ESPN pick this up, Sports Illustrated pick this up, Baseball America pick this up, and shout out to Ethan Houlihan for kind of doing all the legwork here. I mean, this is kind of the days like this are the reason why what he does is so important. Back in December, he reported kind of Rowdy's incentives, and one of those incentives was if he gets to 425 plate appearances, he gets a $200,000 bonus. Well, he's at 421 plate appearances. He's 4 shy of that bonus with 6 games remaining in the season. And the Pirates say, so long, Rowdy. You're not getting plate appearance number 425. So everyone's already made their opinions known on this, from just regular fans to national media to everybody in between. What's your take on Rowdy getting DFA'd today?
Look, man, like, it's long overdue. Rowdy Tellez probably should have been DFA'd a long time ago, and people can argue about that back and forth till you're blue in the face. The issue here is the optics of the entire situation. It's a really bad look at any pending free agents or anyone that you're looking to acquire going forward when you're DFAing a guy 4 at-bats short or 4 plate appearances short of a $200,000 incentive. And the Pirates made their own bed in this entire situation. There have been stories for how long about the Pirates pinching pennies here and there on little things. And I think if you actually look at this level-headed, the minor league season did just wrap up. You can make an honest argument that Liover Peguero, Josh Palacios, who might have some sort of impact next year, should be here right now over Rowdy Tellez and Michael A. Taylor. You can make that argument all day. The optics of it are terrible. The PR of it is terrible. There's a reason the national media is picking it up, and it's a big deal because it's the Pirates. It's 4 plate appearances short of a $200,000 incentive, which is literal pennies in Major League Baseball. That's it. That's all it is. It looks really, really bad. And Jim, if you're the Pirates right now, you are leaking to the media and you are giving Rowdy Tellez $200,000, and you're leaking it to everybody you can think of in the media and saying, we paid this guy. And it's all gone. That's it.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation because of who they are, right? Like if this was if this was a different team, right? Let's just, if this was the St. Louis Cardinals doing this, right? It would be like, you know what, that's a crappy thing to do, but this is like a one-off scenario that we're seeing here. But this is the Pirates. The Pirates have established a pattern that they are cheap. They will do things to save a buck. There was an entire article written by Ken Rosenthal and Stephen Nesbitt this spring, outlining, time and time and time again, how cheap this team is and how much just minuscule amounts of money have to do with some of the decisions that they make. So that's where the optics come in, right? And I said, the reason why this story has blown up is because it is the Pirates doing it. That's why. Like, it's a team that is known for being cheap, and now they're doing something where the optics of it seem cheap. Now, you want to give me the baseball reasons behind this, and I agree. Like, I don't need to see Rowdy Tellez anymore. I don't need to see Michael A. Taylor anymore. There's literally no reason for them to be playing for the rest of the year. So, like, from a baseball reasoning standpoint, this move makes sense, right? Like, it makes sense. I'd rather see Peguero and Palacios than Tellez and Taylor. But like, the optics are bad. It's just plain and simple. 4 plate appearances. That's one game. That is one start away from $200,000. So like, if this move was made 3 weeks ago and the reasons were given, hey, you know what? We want to see some players who may help us down the road, and Tellez and Taylor are not those players, then you know what? I'm all for this, And even now, like I said, from a baseball standpoint, I'm good with this. But from a PR, from an optics standpoint, it just doesn't look good. And it's just another example of the Pirates. And I don't even know if this has any role to play with it. Like, this may have never crossed their mind when making this decision. But the fact that it's reality, right? And that's the perception of this, is that it's just a bad look. It's a bad look for the Pirates. It's a bad look to their players, because the players know this. It's a bad look to other teams' players who are seeing this. Rowdy Tellez is a well-liked guy. People like Rowdy Tellez, not just on the Pirates, but across baseball. He's a first baseman. He talks to you when you get on base. You chat it up with him. Players are going to look at this and say, you know what? That's pretty shitty what you did there, Pittsburgh Pirates. And you know what? I'll just kind of keep this in the back of my mind for the rest of my life. And so it may be when a player is deciding in the Pirates, maybe when the Pirates do finally decide, hey, you know what? It's time to be competitive. It's time to go after some real players and make them real offers. And it's like, I'm juggling 2 offers. I've got the Pirates and I've got the Tigers. Who am I going to pick? Oh, well, you know what? The Pirates did Rowdy dirty, so I'm going to go play for the Detroit Tigers, right? So that's my thoughts on it. I agree with you. Like, if you're the Pirates right now, you give Rowdy his $200K and you say, hey, this was just purely a baseball decision. We're not taking any money out of him. Like, you've got to turn this around and spin it into a positive, because otherwise, this is just a bad look in general.
Yeah, we can. People can say that optics don't matter, PR doesn't matter, things like that. In Major League Baseball, it matters, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a reason that guys would want. There's a reason Andrew McCutchen wanted to come to Pittsburgh, because he had great experiences here.
Yeah.
You flip that on a guy like Rowdy Tellez, and I know they're not in the same conversation, but if you would ask Andrew McCutchen, if you're a Major League Baseball player, would you go play for Pittsburgh? Unequivocally, he'd probably tell you yes. If you ask the same thing to Rowdy Tellez, you're probably getting a much different answer.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation, because like, I would have been fine with them DFAing Rowdy in May, but like, doing it today is just, it's weird. It's odd. It's just a bad look.
It even comes back to just our own personal lives. Like, everybody here has a job. If you get treated like crap at your job, or they shortchange you out of money, you're going to have a sour taste in your mouth, and you're going to tell people about it.
Yeah.
It's a small circle. Major League Baseball is. They talk.
Mm-hmm.
You're not helping your cause.
Well, and like what Jay Lucy 3 here in the comments says, how do you think this plays with the guys on the current roster? You just mentioned it. Like, I mean, this is a workplace environment. If I was at work and I knew that my counterpart, my peer, was like a day away from hitting like a work milestone where he gets this bonus and he got fired the day before that happened, I'd be like, they did Bill here in accounting. They did him dirty, So yeah, that's, you got to think the existing players know this, what's going on, and they know about this incentive. Everybody does now. It's everywhere. I mean, ESPN was sending me push notifications on my phone about this. So it's well known. Everyone knows that Rowdy Tellez is 4 plate appearances away. We put a graphic on Instagram about it. It was our most shared Instagram post of all time. We put it on Facebook, and it's like it's the most seen Facebook post we've ever had. So like everyone knows about it now. It's not a good look.
It's not like, I don't want to make it overblown because there's only 30 teams that can hire you. It's different in the real world, but it's still like, it's a small bubble, man. Like,
yep.
People talk.
Yep. And you mentioned like what's wild is they could have made this like a positive. They could have been like, you know what? They gave him his 4 plate appearances, then they DFA'd him. Like they could have done it like that, but it was bad. So, yeah. All right, let's
And Bill from accounting was a great guy. What the hell?
Yeah, sorry.
Sure, Bill. He wasn't great at his job, but he showed up every day and tried.
Yeah. Poor Bill. All right. Get to the game. Pirates lose 7-2 to Milwaukee. Let's see here. The Milwaukee Brewers start off the scoring in the second inning. Bailey Falter on the mound for the Pirates kind of had some good times, had some bad times in this game, but it was mostly bad times from Falter. He gives up 4 runs over 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. But the Brewers got on the board early in the second. Willie Adames with an infield single, Rhys Hoskins with a walk, and then Sal Frelick doubles home the first run. Joey Ortiz with a 2-run single to make it 3-0. So Brewers take a 3-0 lead in the second. Pirates do answer back in the bottom half. Joey Bart base hit, Brian De La Cruz double, Triolo single, Nick York sacrifice fly. So they made it a 3-2 game. But like let's kind of stop there for a little bit, kind of talk about Bailey Falter's start again. Like those 3 runs, those hampered him. He did give up 1 more run in the 4th inning, but I thought he was kind of just okay, I guess, today. Like he wasn't good, he wasn't awful. It was just your typical Bailey Falter below average start.
Yeah, you could have just stopped it. He was Bailey Falter. Like,
yeah,
that's what he was.
He was probably a little worse than normal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was just that first inning. He got beat up a little bit. I don't really want to overreact to a Bailey Falter bad start because really it wasn't that bad. He looks like he should get beat up a lot more than he does. And sometimes he'll go 5 innings, give 4 runs. And like you live with that with Bailey Falter. It's more of a tip to the cap to him for the year he's put together because I don't think anybody believed in him. I know I sure as hell didn't. I know we were on the podcast together saying anybody but Bailey Falter in the starting 5 to open up the year. Well, he put together a pretty solid year. And tonight was one of the bad starts we got from him, but still he kept them in the game and he ate some innings. And after that first inning, he cleaned it up a lot.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, just kind of go back to the season that he's had. This will likely be his last start. 27 starts, 139 and a third innings, 8-9 record, 4.26 ERA. Like none of us would have anticipated that from Bailey Falter this spring when we saw him going into games in the 4th and 5th inning against AA players and giving up homers to everybody he faced. Like it was a rough spring for him. But yeah, shout out Bailey Falter. He put together a really good season and he put himself into a position where, next year he's going to be competing for a rotation spot. And I mean, at this point, he's at least on the roster. Like if he doesn't make the rotation, I'll gladly take him in the bullpen right now. So yeah, a solid season for your number 5 starter. Like, you'll take this 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, very pleased with what Bailey Falter did this year. Like, one of the few guys I don't really have much of a complaint about.
Yeah.
He performed to expectation, above it actually,
I
but
would say, yeah, above.
but for a number 5 starter, he performed to where he probably should be.
Parliament Films here. Bailey Falter had fewer 5+ earned run starts than Mitch Keller did this year.
Well,
So,
he's also getting pulled a lot earlier than Mitch Keller would.
He is. He does say that. So,
yeah,
Keller had a lot more better games too. Yeah. So that, like I said, that was Falter's night. He gets pulled after 5 innings, and then this is where I have a little bit of a problem with how this game went. It was 4-2 at this point. Isaac Mattson comes in, who you just called up a week ago. Lifelong minor leaguer, ex-Washington Wild thing. He gives you a scoreless 6th inning, but at this point, like, it's a 4-2 ball game. This is a very winnable game still. You're coming off of an off day. You've got 8 relievers in your bullpen, 9 relievers in your bullpen, actually. And you send your former Frontier League pitcher out for a 2nd inning against the NL Central champions. And what you would expect to happen happened. Single, walk. Just absolutely falls apart. He leaves the game after walking in 2 runs. It's now 6-2 with the bases loaded. Joey Wentz comes in. He does a good job of cleaning things up, but 1 more run scores. I'm not this is kind of where I'm talking about, like this is Derek Shelton just falling asleep at the wheel. I don't know what he was doing here. Someone on Twitter, I think it was Michael from 412 Double Play podcast. He told me that it's almost like he forgot that he was the one who's supposed to make the move. Like it was his responsibility. Like, how, first off, I wouldn't have let him come back out there. But then also, like, how long of a leash are you giving this guy? This is a career minor leaguer in a winnable game against a divisional opponent, and you're letting him walk 4 batters in an inning. Like, was he sleeping? Was he in the bathroom going like I don't, what was he doing? How was he watching this and just saying, like, yeah, I'm gonna give him 1 more at bat. Keep giving him 1 more at bat. There's 9 relievers in the bullpen. There's 9. He had 8 available guys.
And what are you saving them for? It's the last week of the season
left.
I don't know, man. Like, and you can't even tell me that, like, you're trying to, I don't know, like, get Isaac Mattson ready for next year, see what you have with him. If that's a guy that you're trying to see what you have in him for next year, what the hell are we doing?
No, there's no seeing for next. Like, I mean, Isaac Mattson is not in your future plans.
Dude,
he is here to pitch meaningless innings in September. That's what he's here for.
It's like when you play MLB The Show and you just kind of forget to get a guy up in the bullpen.
That's exactly what it is. Then you're like, oh, crap, I don't have anybody warm. And then you have to hurry up and warm somebody up because you forgot. And then you bring them in and they're cold. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It's like he was just forgot.
Yeah. He just, I don't know. They didn't score any runs or get any hits. And they're like, oh, crap, we got to run him back out there. I forgot to do that other part. And then he forgot again because he had to go to the bathroom real quick or go grab a beer or something. Because that's how it goes with me and MLB The Show.
Yeah.
And I sit back down, walk a guy, and I'm like, crap, this guy's still in. I got to warm someone up. And then you walk 4 in a row. Except I don't coach Major League Baseball in year 5 of a rebuild. It's not my 5th year of experience doing it. So, yeah, like, it happens too often. It has happened way too often.
I see it if this game were 7-2. If it was 7-2, then sure, whatever. The game's over. Let Isaac Mattson get as many outs as he can. But like, this game was still very much in play. It was a 4-2 ball game in the 7th inning, and he just let Isaac Matson walk the game away. Pitch after pitch after pitch. And the thing is about walks is like, it's not like the other teams, like they're not doing it quick. Like you have to throw at least 4 pitches. So like he saw him throw 16 balls before he was like, all right, maybe it's time to go get this guy. I don't get it. I mean it. He can't be the manager next year. I don't care what anybody says. Like I know that managers, I don't know how much managers affect the game, but he affected today's game in a negative way.
But it's also managing like you have a job next year. Because a manager that's on the hot seat and it's burning hot.
It's a good point.
You're trying to win that game. And I don't think there was a second of this game where it looked like Derek Shelton wanted to win that game. Or even just cared to win that game.
Yeah, it's like they let the Brewers win this one.
Yeah.
Once they went down 4-2, they let them win.
Yeah, it looks like I'm bringing it back to another, like our own life. It's like that week before Christmas. Like everyone's like, yeah, let's get this thing done. Who cares what happens this week?
Yeah.
Isaac, you run the show.
That's a good point. It's a good point. And when Alex Stumpf was on here to say like this last month is very important when it comes to Derek Shelton's future with the team, didn't seem very important today. Like today did not seem very important. So.
No.
All right. Well, yeah. So I mean that was 7-2 right there. That's where the game ended. Couple things to kind of touch on as well, as far as the offense goes. Joey Bart with two hits and he had a double. Let's talk a little bit about Jared Triolo too. Like this guy's just
frustrating.
It's 2 years in a row now that Jared Triolo has done this, where he's kind of shown you nothing for the better part of the season. Last year he was called up, sent back down, called back up again. But I mean, he's been in the majors the entire season this year and has been bad. He's been a bad hitter. But man, he's been really good for 2 months now. Like one of the better hitting infielders in the National League. He was so bad up to this point. His numbers are still terrible, but like lately, this guy's been raking, and it kind of just makes you take a step back. Like, okay, it's a 162 game season. You've got a guy who can play multiple positions fairly well. He's shown you now over 174 game span in his career. He's a below average hitter, but at times he can get hot and help you out. I just wish he would pick a side, like either be good or be bad, like stop being this in the middle thing, because I don't want to see 500 more bats from Jared Triolo before I decide whether or not he's useful or not. That's where I'm at. Like I want to make up my mind on him, and he keeps making me change my mind with how he plays.
You said you wish that he would decide to either be bad or good, but I just wish he would be in the middle. Like, just stay in that middle territory, please.
That too. Yeah.
Because he's either just useless, where you can't roster him, or you can't take him out of the lineup. And lately, we've seen the pop. Like, we're seeing opposite field power. We're seeing gap-to-gap power. And, like, you see it with the guy. You know he has pop in the bat. I don't know if I fully believe in the bat speed, but, like, you see the bat-to-ball skills with him. I have a hard time not picturing him as like a 10%, 15% below average hitter with just really good defense that can play pretty much anywhere in the infield. But you don't see it over an extended stretch. You just see it for August and September, basically. Because that's all we've seen it from. Maybe that's the thing. Let's just call him up in August, September and call it a day.
Just stick him in AAA until the end of the year.
The old Jack Sawinski thing where we're just going to play him at home.
Yeah, I mean, and then it's not like the numbers are outstanding here. Like August 731 OPS, September 738 OPS. But like if you are putting up OPSs in the 730s, with the type of defense that he gives you, it's a pretty good ball player. Like, that's a good ball player. Like, that's a slightly above average hitter who can play Gold Glove caliber defense. That's a really good baseball player. The problem is that's not who he is all the time. Up to that point, he was, I think at one point he was the worst hitter. Like we just talked about Michael A. Taylor being second or third to worst. Like there was a time when Triolo was the worst. So it's just, I still don't know what he is. I still don't know what he is yet. And we've seen a lot of at bats from him. And I want to say he's kind of in the middle of the two, right? Like I don't think he's the worst. I don't think he's that good. So, evens out to like a below average hitter. And if that's what he is, that's fine because the position versatility is valuable. But yeah, it's been an interesting couple of seasons for Jared Triolo.
He goes from Austin Hedges to like Ben Zobrist. Pretty much in the span of a day. Like August 1st hits and he just becomes a useful baseball player. Until then, he's essentially unusable.
Yeah.
And
sure, asks who was the worst hitter, and I actually already closed out of the page, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, Taylor was third to worst.
On this team?
No, just in Major League Baseball.
Oh God, who knows? It's got to be a Pirate.
No, it wasn't. It was Taylor was the worst hitting Pirate. So, but yeah, just not a. Going back to Triolo though, it's like keep playing. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's useless. I think he can be useful in a specific role. I don't think he should be getting everyday at bats. Like I think the problem comes when you're giving him 500 plate appearances in a season. He probably needs more like 300 to 350.
Yeah,
and being bounced around. But yeah, I mean, ever since he's taken over for Hayes full time, pretty much since Hayes got hurt, yeah, he's been good. Trying to think what else happened here. Nick York with another base hit. He had a good play in the field, sacrifice fly. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, Nick York and Joey Bart have put together some good at bats, and
yeah,
it's guys to keep an eye on in spring.
Yep. Joey Wentz did pitch an inning in 2/3 scoreless. David Bednar with a scoreless 9th inning. So I think that's how many? That's 4 scoreless outings in the last 5 for Bednar. Not sure if that necessarily means anything, but his September ERA is at least in the low 4s now. If that means anything at all.
Sure doesn't.
He hasn't been terrible lately. Let's just say that.
He's a guy that needs it. He needs a year.
He was bad in the St. Louis game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's other than that, he's been okay in September. But yeah, just a lackluster game overall. I don't know if there was a little bit of a hangover from the. I mean, you lose 2 guys who have been on this team the entire season, and then you're asked to go play a game. I could see that maybe being something there, but there just wasn't a whole lot going on today.
No, sure wasn't.
So,
I mean, it's hard to add much more. Like everyone's winding down.
Yeah.
And the Pirates, you can tell themselves are winding down.
Yep. So 73 and 84 now on the season. If you had over 72.5 wins on your preseason bet, congratulations. If you got a higher number, they still got some work to do. 5 games left on the year. In order to match last season's win total, they need to go 3-2. Not sure if that's going to happen against 2 first-place teams. But tomorrow, another game against the Brewers, 6:40 p.m. Luis Ortiz against Freddie Peralta. And another shout out to Jamie, one of our listeners, one of our viewers. He lives in England. He flew to Pittsburgh to go to this series. So he went to his first Pirates game today. Sorry you didn't see a great game, but shout out to Jamie. He got to finally see the team he loves from across the pond. So we had him on a show this last off season, but yeah, so he's in Pittsburgh right now. So
Okay. Enjoy the trip. Get some Primantis.
Yeah,
Have an icy light. I mean, if I were,
hopefully you see a win this week. Yeah, hopefully you didn't travel to a different continent to watch the Pirates get swept by the Brewers. Let's get Jamie a win.
Get him a win, but at the very least, just enjoy the trip to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, we'll be back tomorrow with another post-game show. Appreciate everybody in the comments, in the chat. You guys are awesome. Like the video if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the page if you're watching or listening after the fact. You guys are awesome. Leave a comment. Leave a review. Tell your friends about North Shore 9 too. If you've got a friend who's a Pirates fan, be like, hey, you should listen to these North Shore 9 guys. They're sickos. They watch the Pirates all the way up until late September and talk about them every day. Give them a listen.
Dude, we are sickos. What are we doing?
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. But yeah, appreciate everybody. Talk to you later.
Peace out, Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.